The Daimyo were the powerful feudal lords who, until the decline in the early Meiji period, ruled most of Japan from the vast, hereditary land holdings. In the term dai literally means large, and myo stands for myōden, meaning private land, subordinate only to the shogun. Daimyo were the most powerful feudal rulers from the 10th century to the middle 19th century in Japan. For the shugo of the Muromachi period through the Sengoku to the Daimyo of the Edo period, the rank had a long and varied history. The term daimyo is also sometimes used to refer to the leading figures of such clans, also called lord. It was usually, though not exclusively, for these warlords that a shogun arose or a regent was chosen. Daimyo often hired samurai to guard the land, and they paid the samurai in land or food, as relatively few could afford to pay samurai in money. The daimyo era ended soon after the Meiji Restoration with the adoption of the prefecture system in 1871. Shugo daimyo. The shugo daimyo were the first group of men to hold the title daimyo. They arose from among the shugo during the Muromachi period. The shugo daimyo held not only military and police powers, but also economic power within a province. They accumulated these powers throughout the first decades of the Muromachi period. Major shugo daimyo came from the Shiba, Hatakeyama, and Hosokawa clans, as well as the Tozama clans of Yamana, Aochi, and Akamatsu. The greatest ruled multiple provinces. The Ashikaga shogunate required the shugo daimyo to reside in Kyoto, so they appointed relatives or retainers, called shugodai, to represent them in the home provinces. Eventually some of these in turn came to reside in Kyoto, appointing deputies in the provinces. The Onan War was a major uprising in which shugo daimyo fought each other. During this and other wars of the time, kunai-iki, or provincial uprisings, took place as locally powerful warriors sought independence from the shugo daimyo. The deputies of the shugo daimyo, living in the provinces, seized the opportunity to strengthen the position. At the end of the 15th century, those shugo daimyo who succeeded remained in power. Those who had failed to exert control over the deputies fell from power and were replaced by a new class, the Sengoku daimyo, who arose from the ranks of the shugodai and samurai. Sengoku daimyo. Among the Sengoku daimyo were many who had been shugo daimyo, such as the Satai, Amegawa, Takeda, Toki, Rokakus, Aochi, and Shimazu. New to the ranks of daimyo were the Asakura, Amagard, Nagao, Miyoshi, Chosokubi, Jimbo, Hatano, Oda, and Matsunaga. These came from the ranks of the shugodai and the deputies. Additional Sengoku daimyo such as the Mori, Tamura, and Uzoji arose from the samurai. The lower officials of the shogunate and ronin, provincial officials, and kuge also gave rise to Sengoku daimyo. Daimyo in the Edo period. The Battle of Sekigahara in the year 1600 marked the beginning of the Edo period. Shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu then reorganized roughly 200 daimyo in the territories into han, which were assessed by rice production. Those heading han assessed at 10,000 koku or more were considered daimyo. Ieyasu also categorized the daimyo according to the relation to the ruling Tokugawa family. The Shinpan were related to the Tokugawa. The Fudai had been vassals of the Tokugawa or allies in battle, and the Tozama had not allied with the Tokugawa before the battle. The Shinpan were collaterals of Ieyasu, such as the Matsudaira, or descendants of Ieyasu other than in the main line of succession. Several Shinpan, including the Tokugawa of Owari, Ki and Mito, as well as the Matsudaira of Fukui and Aizu, held large han. A few Fudai daimyo, such as the Ii of Hikone, held large han, but many were small. The shogun shogunate placed many feudal at strategic locations to guard the trade routes and the approaches to Edo. Also, many feudal daimyo took positions in the Edo shogunate, some rising to the position of roju. The fact that feudal daimyo could hold government positions while tozama, in general, could not was a main difference between the two. Tozama daimyo mostly held large fiefs far away from the capital, with e.g., the Kagahan of Ishikawa Prefecture, headed by the Mida clan, possessed at 1 million koku. Other famous tozama clans included the Mori of Choshu, the Shimizu of Satsuma, the Date of Sendai, the Usugi of Yonezawa, and the Hashizuka of Awa. Initially, the Tokugawa regarded them as potentially rebellious, but for most of the Edo period, marriages between the Tokugawa and the tozama, as well as control policies such as Sankan Kotai, resulted in peaceful relations. After the Meiji Restoration, in 1869, the year after the Meiji Restoration, the daimyo, together with the kuga, formed a new aristocracy, the kazuko. In 1871, the han were abolished and prefectures were established, thus effectively ending the daimyo era in Japan. In the wake of this change, many daimyo remained in control of the lands, being appointed as prefectural governors. However, they were soon relieved of this duty and called on Master Tokyo, thereby cutting off any independent base of power from which to potentially rebel. Despite this, members of former daimyo families remained prominent in government and society, and in some cases continue to remain prominent to the present day.